Blessed be he who sorts thy tears. This is going to be a reaction to West Side Lives. They belong to the streets. I would suggest watching that. Anyways, I'm going to get into it. I disagreed with a lot of the stuff that he said. I believe our Father in heaven has deemed what is and what is not holy into 6 tiers. He actually said this to me in a dream. West Side Live almost got them right. It was belongs to the gulags, thoughts, simps, chads, incels, and Beckies. If you don't know what a Becky is, it's basically an incel but a girl. You see the virgin versus the Chad, and then it's the Becky versus the Stacy. Virgin and incel are kind of interchangeable usually in that meme, but Becky is undisputably the girl version. Anyways, let's get started. 4chan he put in the Chad tier. I do not agree. He said 4chan back in the day was Chad. I don't agree whatsoever. When 4chan first launched, it had legal child porn, well, not legal, it had illegal child porn on it, and then the police shut 4chan down. And 4chan still allows like anime child porn, which it's just a drawing, so like who cares, but it still, gets people into the fetish of child porn in the first place, right? And then after the police shut down the child porn, 4chan then is when 4chan really started to get like a big conspiracy theorist, we're gonna shut down everything, blah blah blah. Remember when the Boston bombing happened and Reddit tried to get that little Muslim kid killed or something like that? That's 4chan all the time. 4chan is not a good place. If you go on 4chan now, it's just incel after incel complaining about girlfriends and all that. If you go on the advice board, which is pretty much the only board I ever go on, it's always people complaining about girlfriends or whatever. So 4chan belongs in the incels. Facebook is Chad. Everyone who uses Facebook are men and women born before 1993. All those people are Chads. They are really, truly what the younger generation aspires to be. They are the ones who have student loans and don't complain about them, right? Or they complain about them in a way that makes them charismatic, right? The people nowadays are wusses compared to the men and women born before 1993. They don't charge their phone. They eat cold chips. They do not eat hot chip. And they speak the truth. Google Plus is for the Chads. When Google Plus launched, the people who recognized that it sucked off the bat were the incels and the simps who actually use YouTube daily. The people who use YouTube all day long and could recognize that Google Plus sucked and could recognize that they wanted to complain about Google Plus spent too much time on the internet. If you asked a normal person, such as someone born before 1993, if they knew what Google Plus was, they would say no. So the people who were not anti-Google Plus were the Chads. The people who actually had a Google Plus unknowingly and just used the service all the time, those are the Chads. Instagram is for the thoughts. Instagram followers, even girls that don't even post like workout pictures or anything. Just if you're a girl, you have hundreds, maybe thousands of followers just for existing. And so a lot of girls take advantage of that, right? They post like butt pictures, they post like pictures of them at the gym, like, oh my god, just went on a nice date, or slide up if you, Instagram is full of those. LinkedIn is for the Chads. Anyone who's on LinkedIn is about getting money. They're not worried about girls, they're not worried about boys, they're just in it for the money, they're only thinking about themselves. It's truly Chad material. Every time I go on LinkedIn, it could be the most losery, whatever person, sex offender, Chad. If you're using LinkedIn at the time, I'm not saying sex offenders are Chads, but using LinkedIn makes them a little bit less of a sex offender. MySpace was pretty hard to place. I'm putting this into the Becky tier. The only people who used MySpace were men and women born before 1993, but it was back in the time when being born before 1993 wasn't a big deal. Now being born before 1993 is a big deal. And the people who actually used MySpace were girls who would have the teardrop haircut and would post, just save me from this nightmare, right? Because some boy asked them out on the dance and then stood them up, right? Those were the people that used MySpace, those kinds of girls. Pinterest, the same deal. The only people that use Pinterest right now are women who don't get any. They are Beckies. They are the people who, it's almost like Etsy but social media, right? Like the people who use Etsy are girls that like, oh, I just knitted some bracelets, charging $50, right? The people who go on Pinterest are people who actually look at those bracelets and be like, wow, that's really interesting. It's Becky's. Reddit. Reddit is for the incels. I actually used Reddit a lot growing up. I still use it every now and then, but I haven't used it for a long time. And I could say without a doubt, I had incel behavior and so many other people had incel behavior. When you use Reddit, I used Reddit and I would go on these anime subreddits or whatever, and I would just post pictures of like the girls or whatever, be like, oh, so cute, eating ice cream, right? Some drawing or something like that of them drawing, eating ice cream, you know, something like that, right? That's Reddit. I remember one time I had made a post about Lucky Star and I compared it to Shakespeare. I said, Lucky Star really is just truly impeccable writing, right? And it had the one upvote from me, and then it got one more upvote, and it was like 3 paragraphs long, and that was it. People who use Reddit are incels. Skype back in the day is simp. No one uses Skype anymore, so we can only judge it back in the day, much how we did MySpace. The people who use Skype were all basically just horny teenage boys or whatever, and the second a girl joined the call, a second you heard someone who didn't have a bassy voice like myself, that's when the people were trying to add her, being like, hey, I thought, you know, maybe if you want to join my Minecraft sometime, you know, back in like 2011, whenever people used Skype, you know, they were simps, right? The girls, it's not like the girls were thoughts or gulags, right? They were just girls that were just like, you know, they were like 12-year-old girls, whatever, 12-year-old boys that were hitting on 12-year-old girls in Skype. Like, that's when I used Skype. I was born in 1999. I used Skype when I was 12. I would flirt with the girls that were in calls just because they were girls, right? It was not a website for those at peace of mind. Snapchat is a little bit hard to post. Snapchat has thoughts, simps, chads. Doesn't have too much gulag though, but it definitely has thoughts, simps, and chads. I think at the end of the day, Snapchat is going to go in chads. The reason because... Yes. The reason is because the actual women who have 12 unread snaps and the actual people who slide up on girls' stories be like, oh, you're so cute, oh my god, yeah, I wish you were single, something like that. Those are the vocal minority. The actual people who use Snapchat are the people who are going to screenshot people's snaps and then be like, LMAO, look what she said. Those are the chads. Those are the people that are the majority users of Snap. Like I said, Snap really should just go in all 3 tiers, but the majority of them, the one that best describes it is chads. TikTok belongs to the gulag. If we're comparing TikTok to Vine, Vine was funny and all that. TikTok is not funny. The only way TikTok is funny is if it's making fun of other gulag people. TikTok exists with the gulag. It is the gulag, right? TikTok does not exist on its own without girls trying to show off some dance where they back it up. Is it fat enough? Whatever that TikTok trend, that every single thing in TikTok is based around those videos. Tumblr, a bit hard to place. I'm gonna put it in Becky's. No. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna put Tumblr in Becky's. Tumblr, I can't speak for it much anymore. As far as I know, Tumblr is just a site where people would post some very strong political opinion 1 second, and then the next second they would be a horn dog, right? The people on Tumblr are super horny, and also get none, right? When you're super horny and get none, super horny already makes you a simp or an incel or something of the sort, right? And then you get none, like, that's really bad, right? That's like 4chan Reddit tiers. But Tumblr, most of the people I know that use Tumblr are girls. I've really never met any boys besides myself that use Tumblr, and I haven't used Tumblr in like 7 years. It's not a place for the successful, right? There's just a lot of people just looking at porn all day, just being like, I just wish that I had a boyfriend or whatever like that, right? And then there's the men doing it too. There's the men being like, oh man, right, like, or not, it doesn't even have to be like straight boys and girls, like, it's also has gay people and all that are still getting none. But I would say the majority of them are girls, straight or gay, and they get none, and it's Becky's. Twitch Twitch is simps. Twitch has so many simps. It is undescribable how many simps Twitch has. In the video, he had Twitch on the Gulag and the simps. I don't think Gulag really does Twitch justice, right? Because Twitch does have people like Ninja. I don't watch Ninja, but Twitch has people like Ninja or whatever, right? Like, you know, some kind of streamers, whatever. I don't even use Twitch at all. I haven't used Twitch in years. Last time I used Twitch was probably during Twitch Plays Pokemon, right? But it takes just a single girl streamer to get thousands of followers. Remember Snapchat? It would take one girl, right? And she'd have like maybe like 20 people, whatever, slide up on her story. If streaming is posting something on your story in Twitch, then instead of 20 people sliding up, you get 7,000, right? Twitch is just full of simps, right? Vine is Chad. The people who used Vine back in the day, there definitely was like Vine twerk compilations 2014, right? Those definitely existed, right? But the majority of people who came out of Vine successful, the majority of people who used Vine properly, all that, they were Chads. They knew the Vine formula, they became famous, all that stuff. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head besides iDubbbz, and I don't really think iDubbbz is Chad, but you know, those kinds of people, right? Like the dude who posted that video or whatever of him like rolling up the window and then his hat gets stuck in the window. He's like, "Give me my hat, Jordan." But there actually wasn't like a dude in the back, and then he looks over and he gets scared at the hat. Whether or not the video is funny, he was doing that for the sake of being funny, and he probably has some successful career now because so many people started off in Vine and are now successful. Vine is Chad. Wattpad is Becky's. It's a bit different than Tumblr. I think Becky is a pretty unhelpful term because Becky is more like, Tumblr is a bit more of like girl simps, and Wattpad is a bit more like girl incels. Wattpad has if you write fan fiction at a point about characters or whatever, or if you read fan fiction, you know, you're just an incel, boy or girl, right? It doesn't matter. Discord is where the incels lie. If you've been on Discord before, it's very similar to Skype. It's very much a modern Skype, except instead of Skype where everyone using it was a little kid, Discord now has 30-year-olds and 11-year-olds intermingling. So when an 11-year-old sees a 17-year-old girl, and when a 30-year-old sees a 17-year-old girl, and they both start flirting with her, you know, they're a bit incelly. The 11-year-old, like, he's not getting any, but he shouldn't be getting any. He's 11. The 30-year-old, he's not getting any. Shouldn't she be married by now? Is incels. This is the OnlyFans logo. I don't even know. I just Googled OnlyFans and I found this. OnlyFans is the gulag. That's pretty undisputed, right? It's the people who realize, I don't have to get a job. I can just put on some makeup and buy some clothes, right? Like, there's freaking McDonald's people who work full-time McDonald's, and, you know, they can't freaking afford an education or whatever, and they're stuck in McDonald's and they just don't know what to do, and they just get depressed and become alcoholics, but just keep going back to McDonald's because that's the only thing that will hire them. People at OnlyFans, they may have played the system right and gotten rich, but it's wrong. And thus, for that, you belong in the gulag. Pornhub is incels. By definition, if you have Pornhub Premium, you're an incel, right? Why would you ever get Pornhub Premium, right? If you could just have actual sex. And then if you watch a video every night, like whatever, if you watch a video every night, it's not a big deal. If you have recommended for me and you start seeing videos that you actually like or whatever, like I don't even know if Pornhub has a recommended, right? But I'm pretty sure that they have like most viewed videos in the United States, something like that. If you're a regular on Pornhub, you're an incel. You're not a simp. If you're a simp, you know, it would be like who's a simp for Riley Reid? Riley Reid is incredibly disgusting, right? She's one of the nastiest people I've ever seen, right? But so no one is like, oh, I only watch Riley Reid videos, right? People who go on Pornhub are like, oh my god, like Chris Rock, right? He called it sexual autism. Chris Rock was like, I can't freaking jack off unless it's some like woman in high heels speaking Spanish and she's mixed. You know, Pornhub, it skews your brain. And lastly, Twitter. Twitter is the thoughts. Twitter has a pretty equal simp to thought ratio, right? There's a lot of thoughts on Twitter, and they don't get as much as they could, right? Like, you could post a thought could post a tweet on Twitter and get 20 people like replying, but In Twitter, the world is your oyster. Anyone can view your Twitter. Whereas Snapchat, only your Snapchat friends, right? Which is why the majority of people using it are not thoughts, right? Twitter, though, there's so many people. It just, only thing you see on Twitter is just girls being like, oh, I just wish, subscribe to my OnlyFans, blah, blah, blah. They're not successful, right? The girls on here want to be in the gulag, but they can't do it, right? So for the time being, they're just thoughts. They're less respectful thoughts, right? Like the Instagram thoughts, I can respect the Instagram thoughts. I can't respect the Twitter thoughts. But anyways, that's my tier list. Remember the Sabbath video and to keep it holy. Give us thy daily bread, for our Father, he witnessed these websites and he saw that gulag thoughts, simps, incels, and Beckys were unholy. Whether you're a man or a woman, you should strive to be a Chad. I think Stacy is a bit unhelpful of a term of Chad, because Chad, Chad is a bro, right? Chad isn't someone who has sex by definition, whereas Stacy, for the most part, is just a woman who just has sex, right? If there was a girl version of Chad, I probably would have made that, but there isn't a girl Chad right now. But strive to be Chads, boys or girls, and amen.